my friend T went viral because of her video. So a lot of people understood what she said. A lot of people didn't. So I thought that we would have a conversation to chop it up about her video. Is cheating really an illusion? That's what we're going to talk about today. Is cheating really an illusion? When I saw it, I was like, okay. I had to be honest with you, sis. I had to like rewind it back a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just because I know you personally, so it's like I had to roll it back a couple of times just to see your point.
Yeah.
You weren't saying that, cheating is good. You wasn't saying that at all. What you're saying is, I'll let you explain that. A lot of people misconstrued it as her saying that, cheating isn't a bad thing and things of that nature. And since I personally know her, I know what she was getting from on that level.
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't, and they took it the wrong way. So I invited her to talk about the video so that she can further explain it. And if you guys have any questions, let me know, and we can go from there. But the video, after watching it a couple of times, I was like, that's what she was getting at. That's what she was getting at. And so I totally understood it. So I'm going to let you go ahead and chop it up, T.
T, I appreciate you. Family, when I said this was so unexpected, it was truly spirit-led. The video was a freestyle off the top of the dome. And what the main focus of the video that I was led to share is just accountability that we all have to take in this belief of cheating. I believe that we have such a stigma upon it because we're not taking accountability or responsibility. A lot of people don't even know what that is, and we tend to point fingers and blame others instead of realizing they are just a reflection of ourselves. So every time that we are entering in these relationships, these friendships, they are just mirroring ourselves. So if they are doing something wrong or we feel offended, it's because we still have work to do within ourselves. So dealing with that we have to look inward instead of pointing out is where we begin to be free. So we choose mental slavery every day, doing things that we don't want to do. We tend to cheat on ourselves is what we really do. We ignore the red flags. We tend to procrastinate. We tend to be lazy. We tend to betray ourselves. And once we understand the truest commitment that we can ever have is with ourselves before any and everybody. They don't teach us that we should marry ourselves first. We're so eager to marry the other, but when have we ever learned to marry ourselves? Because once I did that, I realized I am a good wife to myself. But we're so eager to show other people, we're so eager to have a soulmate. But what if I tell you that you are your soulmate and that you don't have to hold anybody down, you don't have to control anybody, you don't have to change anybody. All you have to be is in your divinity of love. So now you can see other people as unconditional love. But we tend to have these rules and regulations on how to love somebody, and it's very transactional love right now. We're not really centered in love. And when I mean by centered in love, love is a free emotion. It's freeing. So we're supposed to support each other. We're not supposed to fix each other. We're not supposed to hold each other back. We're supposed to experience each other in this day-to-day life. So once we get to that space, instead of letting go of our wants and our needs from the other, but we have to fulfill that for ourselves first. Why are we waiting for other people to tell us that we are gorgeous, that we are beautiful, to rub us down and do all this stuff for us? We have to fulfill our own needs first before we go out here seeking to the world. So the overall message is that we cheat on ourselves every day. We betray ourselves, but we don't want to talk about that because we have been accustomed to being in victim mentality. That's 100.
But when you said that we cheat on ourselves because we don't hold ourselves accountable for some of the things that that we do, I felt that because we don't. Some of the times, I have Kai up here, and she's my little sis. And we not only hold ourselves accountable, we hold other people accountable as well for the actions that they display. So when we're talking about cheating, the question that I have for you is, when our have you ever been in that state of being cheated on, and how did you handle that, T? How did you handle that? What are the steps, that you took to alleviate yourself from that, relationship? And then when you alleviated yourself from that relationship, what are some things that you did to, what did you do? Did you look in the mirror and say, okay, I have to change this about my life? Mm-hmm. So the next relationship that I get into won't be like the relationship that I ended because of that person that cheated.
Extremely powerful. I think we all been cheated on, done wrong, done dirty, as though we felt that. Because yes, in high school, I really had this victim mentality and this belief that someone could cheat on me. Like, looking like, what could I have prevented from someone cheating on me, when that is their loyalty to themselves? That is who they are. And I can't try to babysit them. I can't try to hold this brother back. I can't try to get him to love me more by opening my legs up. If he wants to do what he wants to do, I have to have the grace in allowing that to happen. So I have been taught about having this victim mentality, to not look inside of myself, to point fingers, to cry about it, to not ask these deep and hard questions of what did I play in this co-creation? What signs did I ignore from this? And once I have been growing into myself and just evolving and learning and reading and studying myself, I realized that no one can hurt us but ourselves. And to release people when it's time to go, I think that's the key to it. We have to learn how to let go. We can't try to hold people back. That's what I mean by just allowing people to have their freedom, because we tend to want to try to change people. We tend to want to have them in shackles and handcuffs. Like, no, we can fix this, we can work it out. But if they are giving you signs after signs, sis, he is not for you, she is not for you, brother. We have to release people so they can be the best version of themselves. We tend to hold people back because we have this fantasy of this love story that Disney kept trying to tell us that. So we are chasing a fantasy. We are chasing and trying to mold people into this image into ourselves. And we add a lot of pressure into these relationships, asking someone to be our everything when you are your everything. So once we allow people the space to express their authentic self, I believe that's how relationships are going to get stronger. We tend to, in these relationships, we have these made up agreements. Communication is so key. And if we don't talk about it, if we don't allow people to be authentically themselves, how can we have a solid relationship? Most people are operating in fear. Most people are operating in insecurity and lack. So they don't want to have these deep and hard questions that it's other people attractive out here. Not saying that they're going to go sleep with them. That's low frequency if we just thinking about sex every day. I'm not even talking about sex. And that's what a lot of people just got to when I talked about cheating, because we operating at such a low frequency. We don't even understand that it's other ways to be intimate. It's other ways to connect with one another. But if we can't even connect with each other on a spiritual tip, how can we even go further in this life? So communication is so heavy. If we find this self-love within ourselves, we reflect it outside of ourselves to everywhere and everyone. So that's what I have been going through on my journey, is realizing that self-love matters, healing myself so now I can heal other people, that I can have grace on other people. I can allow everyone to be a free spirit, as we all came here to do. We all came here to be free. We didn't come here to get babysit by everybody. We didn't come here to have anybody be in control of us, the boss of us, and trying to obey to their fantasies in their lives. And it has helped me tremendously just looking within and knowing that if someone hurts me, that means, oh, I still have work to do here. So I'm no longer going towards victim blaming and having this victim mentality and just like, okay, Tara, let me pull up my big girl pants and see what I gotta do to overcome this jealousy feeling that I'm feeling, overcome this insecurity that I'm feeling within myself, overcome this blaming that I feel. So self-talk is tremendous. Self-work is tremendous. Inner work is tremendous. And that's what we all should strive for, instead of trying to fix a relationship. Fix yourself, and now your relationship will end up being the best it can ever be.
I agree. If you guys are enjoying the conversation, tweet it out on your timeline. Put hashtag is cheating really an illusion, and me and T will be able to see it. I think that one thing that's important that people should do is when they enter into these relationships is talking to the previous person that they were in a relationship with. They might put on this front or this facade like, yeah, I'm this person that you need, I'm this person that you want. But let them check out the other person that they were with, and it just be like, oh, what happened? What? This happened? No, I'm just getting a whole different kind of person. But when you talk to somebody that dated them previously, and they're like, oh no, this happened X, Y, and Z. I think we've gotten away from that, and people, they enter into these relationships and they don't ask questions. They don't see they ignore the red flag that they see. The first red flag. Okay, I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna let that slide because I love them. I think we need to get back to asking previous people that they dated how they were in their relationship, instead of, because a lot of people like putting on facades. And when I talk to my sister circle, it's like a lot of people like putting on facades, and I always encourage them, like, can you talk to the person they were dating with previously and see where they were mentally when they were with that person?
Wow.
Because the person that they are betraying to you might be a different person that they had in their life. So it's always encouraged. Like in the Nation of Islam, we have courtship, and we're always encouraged to ask the person that they were with previously, how are their actions? How do they act with you?
Yes.
What are your intentions and things of that nature? That we're always encouraged to do that. But people in this world, they don't do that. They don't ask the previous person that they were with, and that poses a problem.
Wow.
Like, okay, they might be nice. Oh, he's all lovey-dovey with me. Ask the next person, the person that they were with before.
So originally I went out to do this reel about how I'm gonna stop being petty, and then the spirit led me to talk about how no one can cheat on you. And this video truly was unexpected the way it affected the world. It honestly was spirit led. It was off the dome. It was a freestyle. I did one take, but I had this message and I just followed my inspired wisdom, and it was truly an unpopular opinion. I stated that at the beginning of the video. So the fact that people can have, their opinions, that's all it was. I was originally talking to Instagram just off of the dome. I do these videos every single day. So the fact that this one popped off wasn't truly unexpected, because it was just a matter of time for the world to see who I am, because I truly believe that God has led me here. It wasn't a coincidence that it has affected the whole world, but I was just speaking my truth. I was just following what the spirit led me, and that's where the video happened to be like that. I actually was just like reading about how we fail in relationships. So when I learn something, then I go and teach it as well. So that's how we just followed our intuition right there with that.
So I had a chance to review it. I'm like, okay, and I took notes, and I'm just like, okay, that's what she was getting at that. So I'm just like, okay, let's just have a conversation.
Yes.
So she can explain it into detail so people can understand it a little bit more better, because a lot of people took it out of context. A lot of people were agreeing and a lot of people were disagreeing, but a lot of people took it out of context. And I'm like the type of person to like to review stuff over and over before I make a decision on what I'm about to speak on, because I don't want to be looking like, okay, I don't even know, okay, I'm sorry, I took your words out of context.
Yeah.
But knowing that I know you And then I had to review the video like 4 times. And I'm like, okay, this is where she was getting at on this. And since I know T, I'm going to have her explain what she was talking about in the video. So
yes, sis, I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your thought process as well, Queen. I believe that we all came here to learn different things. We all came here to experience different things that this life has to offer. So me personally, I view everything as an illusion. This life is a movie. We are the main star to this movie. And I believe that we can control our reality. So how I control my reality is by keeping my power. So by me keeping my power is not being attached to the outcome. I'm not attached to what other people do, because I'm not going to end up disappointed. I'm not expecting for everyone to understand this thought process. I'm not expecting for other people to do things for me, because that's going to end up for me being disappointed. So I have been growing apart from my ego, from expecting things from people, from being disappointed, to actually try to compare my life to other people, because we all came on this journey differently. This is a spiritual journey. Everything's spiritual and everything's mental. So if we have the mental capacity to understand that people are gonna be human, people are going to do whatever they want to do because they have to learn. So we have to let people fall on their head. We have to let people bump their head. We can't try to mother grown men. I understand this is going to be like another like layer as well, because I believe even as having parents, like my parents don't own me. I come through my parents, and I came here to be my own individual self. So if we allow people to be their individual self, to govern themselves, we take a lot of pressure off of these relationships as well. But it's so important that if you do have a verbal agreement with someone, you might as well put that on paper, like, because people lose their mind out here. So if you can have a clear understanding, because some people be so forgetful, and some people will still not even remember that you told them to do that. So how you said that you can be cheated off of all these different ways, that's exactly what I mean by being cheated on yourself. You are your first priority. You are the wife to yourself. You are the best investment that you can ever do. So what if we believe that instead of trying to point the other finger that somebody can cheat us, we've been cheating ourselves, sis, because we're not going to our full potential. We're pouring into other people but not pouring into ourselves. We're not watering our own flowers. We want to build other people up, but it's so important, sis, that you not neglect yourself, that you don't neglect who you are and who you came here to be. A lot of times these relationships are a distraction. Most of the time, the reason why it's so hard and we end up quote unquote cheating on each other or doing each other wrong, because they weren't meant to be on this journey with us. Sometimes we have been programmed to believe that we have to have a relationship in order to feel value. I disagree. I believe that we are whole and we are truly in our power right then and now. We lack nothing. We need no one. But it takes a lot of strong mental capacity to understand that you are whole, because once we get to this whole place, we have unconditional love for other people. So I'm not going to be offended if we don't see eye to eye on this, sis, because I still love you, because that's where we come from. So it's so important to have these conversations, because we all think differently. We are so blessed to have different mindsets out here, because we all came here for a whole different purpose. Your purpose don't look like mine, but I can respect you, and I love that we can have these deep and real thought-provoking questions, because all I came here to do was just add another perspective to this layer. Because me personally, I feel like I was being used by God here. We want to be used by the glamorous stuff by God, but what if you're going to have to be humiliated by people? You're going to have people disagree with you here. So just allowing God to use you and being the vessel, that's what we came here to do. we get so wrapped up into like other people, but I'm just saying, like, why don't we put the same energy to ourselves? Me personally, it's not even about if you agree or not. It's just truly how to handle when situations like this occur is the main principle that is law for me. I'm not going to pout. I'm not going to slash any tires. I'm not going to burn this brother's house down. I'm not going to do any of that, because I truly believe that I have my own power, and I'm no longer going to give my power away to anyone. So holding on to your power is so important. Holding on to your power to believe that you are the main priority into your life, so then you can help other people be their best version of yourself. But how can you be the best version of yourself if you're not betting on yourself, if you're not giving all this energy into yourself? Because that's going to just lead the effect of being a great example to this world. But I believe like everybody's pathways is different. Everybody's relationships is different. We shouldn't have a line that we have to do this in order to be here. It's all up to you. So we should allow people the freedom of exploring who they want to be and not having to put limitations on this life for other people, because everybody don't have to think alike. We don't all have to have this herd mentality. We don't all have to agree. And that's the main message of that we started with the video. This is an unpopular opinion. It's an opinion. It's not facts. This is truly how I deal with whatever effects of this outer world is expressing to me, so I can just look inward, so I don't put blame on other people, and I can just take accountability and responsibility for my actions that I played into this situation.
Do you feel those sisters are, out of line, or do you feel like that they don't know how to control their emotions? And if you feel like that, if you were in a situation where you could talk to those sisters, how would you tell them, what advice would you give them? What advice would you give them if you had a sister circle and there were sisters like that in your sister circle that been through that did that? What advice would you give them so that they wouldn't, the next relationship they get into, they wouldn't have to do that? Because some women feel like they've done all they can in a relationship. They did what they could. They love them properly, and they still get cheated on. Mm-hmm. And it drives them to do that. But what advice would you give to sisters who have gone through situations like that and they have that anger trapped up inside of them?
I would tell our beautiful sisters to forgive yourself. That is the power of releasing any disease, any hardship, any mental shackles, is to forgive yourself. It's okay to feel, it's okay to be angry and upset, but use that anger to chant life over your life. Like, instead of saying why me, say like, why am I so successful right now? Like, why is amazing things happening to me? Instead of wasting that good creative energy into burning his house down, because now you are jeopardizing your life, sis. You risking your life just to get some sort of revenge, when the best revenge you can do is be successful, is to be happy, is to shine your light. But the best way to do this is to forgive them and to have this respect for yourself, to allow the freedom in this world, because love is just a freeing emotion and we are going to feel, but we should take this power that we have and hold on to it and not do it to harm us, because we can go left or right. We can either choose the wrong way or we can choose the right way. Or we can choose a way that's going to get us a detour in this life. But you always going to go back to the path that was headed towards you. But you got to Trust your intuition. As feminine women that we are, we have a strong intuition. We tend to ignore it because we get stigmatized. We tend to ignore it because we get distractions in our face. We tend to ignore it, and that is cheating on ourselves. That is betraying self when we ignore our inner voice. Our inner voice is revealing red flags to us every day. Our inner voice is revealing when someone is not the best fit for us. So trust your intuition, because that is the true betrayal, when you are neglecting that. So your intuition is going to tell you that you should not slash this brother's tires because you're going to end up going to jail, sis. And you can already play this scene in your head, because remember, life is a movie. So you can play this jailbird scene in your head of you going into court, that you are gonna wear this jumpsuit. You can play this scene in your head, or you can play this other scene in your head of you living your best life, you being the best version of yourself. You are releasing shackles off of your mind and holding onto your power so tight. And it's nothing wrong with just forgiveness. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. The most selfish thing you can do is forgive you. Yes, and I just wanted to, I just wanted to add on to that, because how you said just we all have different versions of love. Like, they added this another layer of love language. It's still so transactional. We have to enter into unconditional love first with ourselves. So now I'm not trying to change you, brother. I'm not trying to change you, sis. I see where you coming from, and I have compassion. I'm not trying to be right. But how can we have a common ground when most women in today's era haven't even grew up with a father figure? I was blessed to grow up with my father, so now I know how to communicate with men. I'm not passive aggressive. I'm not angry towards a man. A man never hurt me. A man always protected me because I had a safe masculine man around me. So we have to realize that men and women, we are two different. We feel. Women, we feel. Men don't feel like we feel. They are logical thinkers. So we have to have patience with one another in order for us to have a solid and healthy relationship. But if us women don't allow brothers to express their truth and don't be their authentic self, how can we have healthy relationships in the Black community? See, that was so powerful. That was so powerful. I just have to add on to the gems that you was dropping as well. And just off of our sister Paris, I appreciate your passion, sis. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate the dialogue. And what you said is true. Everybody's action does affect us. Because if just like if that 9/11 happened, how that happened, everybody was affected. The whole world affects. Like, we are in this reality together. And it's so important that we are in this reality together, that we have control of our own reality, to understand that when this type of tragedy occurs, when people do come out to be human, when people do make mistakes, we have this grace on them and we have a grace on ourselves. But I truly believe in sisterhood. Is so powerful. So when someone, of course, like the opposite sex, especially if a man does us wrong, we tend to get mad at our sister, and that's why it's a whole bunch of baby mama drama and all this going on, because we are against each other. Women, we got to stop competing, because then men are not going to just be doing us any kind of way. If we all get on cold, sisters, in here, we all get on cold, like, I'm not about to deal with this man. He just made her a baby mama, so that's what's going to happen to me at the end of the day too. And he just going to keep doing it. But it has to take us. It has to take one sister to stand up, like, you done my sister wrong. Why would I even give you that attention? Why would I even put my energy into you when I seen the character you have towards my other? Because that is what they just revealed to us. But sometimes I understand, we feel like we so special, we can change them, we can do them a couple flips in the bedroom to just pull them in closer. But we are truly playing Russian roulette in with our lives by this behavior. Is very foolish, is very childlike thinking that women have to be in competition with each other, because relationships are meant to flow.